if it's a friend like or somebody that you've integrated so much with that it's hard. There's such a big part of your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think especially when you've been together for a long time, or if you started out with the same circles of friends, and the two are very integrated into
Each other's lives.
the circle. At least try to be cordial, right? Or
I would hope so.
Or make an effort, right, to be cordial or be friendly, because it's not just about you. Sometimes after the breakup, you don't want your family and friends to have to choose who gets to go to the event or who doesn't. Sometimes people are better off being individuals than together with that person. Some relationships, you just bring out the worst in each other.
Absolutely.
Hi, welcome to the Magnetic Mismatch Show. This is Linda.
And this is Will, and it smells so good in here, you guys.
Yeah. So right now I'm lighting one of my favorite candles. It's from a brand called Jo Malone, and it's the tomato leaf scent.
It doesn't smell like tomato leaf at all.
Do you even know what a tomato leaf smells like?
I guess I don't really know what a tomato leaf smells like. I've never picked up a tomato and sniffed the leaves. Yeah. I don't even think they come in leaves, do they?
It's on vines, right? But there's leaves on vines.
I guess so. But I've never done it. So that's my point. But the thing is, I feel like with smells, you have a sharper sense of smell than I do. So whenever we buy some of this stuff, it's like you decide because
you're like scent deaf.
Yeah, scent deaf. Wow,
is that like even a word, a thing?
What's
I don't know.
The worst like animal that has the worst sense of smell?
I don't know.
Whatever that is, that's me, I guess.
Yeah.
It could be like, do you smell that? And I'm like, smell what? Like, I don't smell anything. It's normal. It's just like the worst person to ask.
So we actually went to we had a tour. So when we were in France, well, south of France, right?
Yep.
We went on a tour, a factory of where they make perfume, and that's where we got like a little lesson on, the different types of notes they would use for the top, the middle, the base notes, and they gave like samples, like 5 samples or something of different types of perfumes that they make, and they're like, "Can you smell any of the notes?" And Will was like, "Oh, they all smell the same."
They do. Like after the 5th one, I'm like, they smell all the same to me. I whispered it to you. I think somebody heard me.
And they started laughing.
Just started laughing or looking at me in judgment. But no, they were all different
and
ones.
We got so with the samples, we also got like little cups of coffee beans to like cleanse our senses.
I could smell that.
Yeah. But that was funny. But they were telling us about these people who are actually trained to detect like the notes in perfume, because they can clearly differentiate and all the notes and like the way the notes flows in a perfume. I don't know. There's like a whole art associated with that.
It smells like a light touch of rhino's pee mixed with some lavender flowers or something. Like something ridiculous and outrageous.
I don't think I want to smell like pee, but okay.
It's like like the same thing with like coffee snobs or wine snobs. And it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and the way they describe it though is so intricate.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
I don't know how they come up with that terminology.
I just want to be like that sophisticated.
Yeah,
right?
you got to have your nose up in the air though. But yeah, those people with that sharp sense of smell. I mean, it's a small percentage of the population, of course, but like you said, they're trained and they're called noses, right? You're a nose.
You're a nose, and I think they have to live like they have to be very strict on, you know, like how they live their lives too. Like they can't be in conditions where it's too cold or too hot because it might ruin their senses, or they
Wow.
can't smell anything too strong all the time. You know, there's like
Yeah.
a whole way of living.
Jeez. So they have to like protect their nose.
Yeah, they're very disciplined about it.
Dang, that's crazy. But I could see that. I mean, these are people that are getting paid to do that. So it's like, that's your talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not me. Let's put it that way. That for sure, that's not me. But anyways, so segueing into our topic today, we have another really good one, I think. A fun one,
A
as
fun one.
always. We try to keep things lighthearted on this podcast, especially if you've been listening for any time of period. If you've been a long time listener, you know we like to goof around and think out loud almost, right? Like,
Yeah.
what if? Dot, 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 right? So our topic today is, should you be friends with your ex? Should you stay friends with your ex?
See about that.
Here we go. Here we go.
You know, I think I would, personally, if the relationship ended well, and I knew that they were good people or a good person, right? But you know, the way things ended and the way they are, I'm like, oh, they're toxic in my life. So it's a clear cut, like a no.
For your exes.
Yeah.
Same with me. Like for me, I just never, I don't think it ever ended in that maturity level. And I don't think I was mature enough myself to even consider staying friends with my ex.
Mm-hmm.
So it does depend, and we're definitely going to go into that. But I think what sparked this topic in the first place was, of course, we read a story recently about someone exactly in this kind of situation, and it's actually a step above, you know, just being friends with your ex.
Just being friends. This is interesting, and I don't understand, and I do understand why the girlfriend is you know, like frustrated. So here's the story. So she's dating a guy, and I think they've been together for a little bit now. I think it's about 2 years,
Yep.
she said. And the guy still lives with his ex-girlfriend.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
And, you know, the reason, I think the reason is fair, very fair. Because the reason why he still lives with his ex-girlfriend is because they signed a lease together. And, you know, to break a lease is very expensive, right? Because there's penalties, and maybe you could lose your deposit. I don't know. It depends on their contract. So I get it, right? So, but he always assured her, "Don't worry. You know, as soon as the contract ends, like I'm moving out, right? You don't have to deal with this much longer. You've lasted thus far. It's like there's only 3 more months left, whatnot, on the lease." And now, so the new girlfriend is expecting for him to move out of the house with his ex-girlfriend. But now, as the lease contract is ending, and they have to decide if they want to break the lease or renew the lease, he's telling her that he wants to renew the lease with his ex-girlfriend.
Ooh,
and his reasoning is, it's kind of ridiculous. This is good. This is pretty ridiculous. But his reasoning is, the reason why he does not want to break the lease is because him and his ex-girlfriend, they figured out how to be roommates and how to coexist with each other in a romantic way.
And non-confrontational. Like they won't argue and stuff, apparently.
Yeah, a non-romantic way. And also he would miss the dog too much.
Okay, like I'm a pet lover.
Yes.
You know, I get it, and it's man's best friend, and I love dogs. You know how much I love dogs. But I don't think that's a good enough reason, in my opinion, you know, to tell your new girlfriend, like, yeah, sorry, I can't live with you, or I can't leave my ex because I'd miss the dog too much.
Yeah.
Like, I call BS on that, unfortunately.
Same. But
maybe they got the dog together. Maybe that was something that was part of their
but
relationship.
they could share custody when he moves out then.
Yeah, maybe it's like their little kid, right? Like,
yeah, well, he could get the dog for half the time or go take it for walks when he chooses to.
Damn, you're very like
yeah
50-50 there.
Or and it kind of sucks for the new girlfriend too, because she is saying as well she's frustrated because she doesn't know what to do, because they've been dating for a while now, but they're not ready to move in together yet.
That's
which
true.
is very fair, right? Some couples need more time, and that's understandable. And in her case, she's in a little bit of a pickle because it's like okay, she doesn't want him to move in with her, but then yet she doesn't want him to continue to live with the ex-girlfriend, but he seems very like adamant about it.
Absolutely. Like, I just think there's got to be more to it. His 2 reasons that he gave her, that cannot be the real reasons that he's choosing to stay there. You know what I mean? But I think before we go too deeply into the story itself and dissect it a little bit more, I think it'll be cool to like think about, what are the reasons maybe that, like, let's start with just choosing not to be friends in the first place with your ex. We mentioned a couple of things earlier, but what do you think for you specifically would be a reason that you wouldn't think it's a good idea, to stay with your ex as a friend, or keep him in your life?
I think for me, it's more like it makes moving on harder. And I don't know if it's good energy to have, a person there that's constantly reminding you of, the horrible things that happened or the horrible things that you've done to each other, or it's just, I think it just makes moving on so much harder because it's like a constant reminder.
Right. See, for you, you said that it would remind you of the bad things. For me, I think it would be harder because I would probably think about all the good things too. Like, oh, we used to do this together and now we don't.
But that's if your relationship was good.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're planning on staying or even considering
being friends, I guess,
wouldn't you only think of the good stuff, right? Like, so for me, I think I would just have a hard time
moving on.
Agree with what you said. Exactly. Moving on, even considering thinking about other new relationships, just because, you're still a part of my life on a daily basis. And maybe it depends on what we're talking about when we're saying staying friends, right, with your ex. Like, to what degree?
Yeah.
Is it a text every once in a while? Is it being friends on social media? Or is it
being
more
cordial
than that?
at a party? Or is it actually like, hey, let's go hang out once in a while?
Yeah. So I think for me, like, if the relationship was decent, and even if we ended on bad terms, right? I don't think I would be the type that would just say, if I saw you on the streets or if I bumped into you somewhere randomly, that I'm going to pretend like you don't even exist. I'm going to put up my freaking blinders or not even look in your direction. I would probably say, hey, what's up, kind of thing. But I'm not also going to make an effort to be like, oh my God, we should totally catch up. We should plan some like events we should double date, whatever, right? Like, I don't think I would do that.
Yeah.
I would not make an extra effort to try to pursue that relationship. But I also wouldn't I don't think, unless things ended up really badly, that I would cut them out completely from my life either.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of awkward too.
Absolutely, it's awkward.
It's just so awkward to see them there, and then like, or just to have them in your life, and like, once you two start dating other people, it's kind of weird too. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about, hey, we're having a football party. Let me invite my ex-girlfriend and my current boyfriend is there. It creates like almost like a tension almost.
I just don't think you could ever fully or completely like get that out of your mind. Meaning, if you had a intimate relationship with somebody, you were you were romantically involved, and you see them at an event, no matter what, you can't help but something will come back up to mind.
Yeah.
Like you were together once. You were like, like I said, partners.
Yeah.
So I think that's very difficult. But I also think like why I think if I'm in a situation where I broke up with my ex, I wouldn't choose to stay with them, because what if there's an unequal relationship, meaning one person loves the other person more or wants the relationship more? What if I broke up the relationship, but then she didn't really want that to happen, and she wants to stay friends with me because she's hoping if we stay in contact, something can maybe happen down the road. There. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that can happen, right?
That can happen.
It's not always a mutual breakup.
No. So basically, you don't want to continue being friends with her. Is because you don't want to give her the wrong idea that
I don't want to lead her on.
May spark again.
Exactly. So again, it depends on the situation, right? I'm just trying to think about what other cases that can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you agree with that, or do you think it would be different?
Yeah. I mean, I see that, but then there are, reasons why people can choose to be friends too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right. I think
we know some of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, sometimes people are better off being themselves, like individuals than together with that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
For some reason, it's like as an individual, they're great people, fun to be around, positive. But suddenly they get into the relationship and it's like they're a whole new different person, because I feel like some relationships, you just bring out the worst in each other.
Absolutely. We all know people like that. And it's kind of weird to see. Like that person you described, what if like when they're in the relationship with that person, they become the total opposite, right? Constantly negative, needy, insecure, whatever. And it doesn't just impact the two people in the relationship. It makes it awkward for everybody else too. You know what I mean?
Especially when they're like bickering like in front of you, or like, it's just
there's just drama,
or they create tension within the group. Or it's just it's like you feel like you don't want to take sides, but
it's hard.
They make you feel like you have to.
Absolutely.
But let's say that couple, right? And they decide, hey, listen, and they recognize that, we love each other. We're such good friends prior to the relationship. We have so much fun together, but we're just not meant to be together.
Yeah. I think that happens more often than we think.
Yeah. And they break up. Good reason.
Mutual decision.
No
animosity, I think, towards each other. No hard feelings. It's just like, hey, we're not a good fit. We don't like each other when we're together, kind of thing, or who we are, who we become, right? So let's go our separate ways.
Yeah, then I think those people, it's okay for them to be friends.
Yeah, because I think just because you didn't work out romantically, it doesn't necessarily mean that there was no chemistry, or that you guys still can't get along, because there's clearly a reason you got together in the first place, right? There was something that attracted you to each other, or that bonded the two of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you think in that case, it would be okay and it would make sense, for somebody to stay as friends. Maybe they're just better off as friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, and especially if they were friends prior to the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason for that. And, it ended like mutually. There's no reason for them to have to lose a friendship.
Sure.
And
it's hard enough to find like good friends or people that you vibe with on a deeper level So it would be a shame, especially if you were, imagine friends with them for 10, 20 years or something. I'm exaggerating a little bit. And then, you guys decided to date and you dated for a couple of years, but that didn't work out.
Hmm.
I think it's fine. You have a strong enough base of friendship where it can still make sense, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a friend or somebody that you've integrated so much with that it's hard. There's such a big part of your life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah, I think especially when you've been together for a long time,
Yeah.
or if you started out with the same group of circles of friends.
All the mutual friends
Yeah,
and
and the two individual are very integrated into
each other's
the
lives. Yeah.
circle. I think it's not fair to at least try to be cordial, right?
I
Or
would hope
or
so.
make
Yeah.
an effort, right, to be cordial or be friendly, because it's not just about you. Sometimes after the breakup,
Right.
if they're
It
that
impacts everybody else. Yeah.
exactly, and especially when they're that integrated into the circle, you don't want your family and friends to have to choose, oh, who gets to go to the event or who doesn't.
Oh yeah, I've had that happen with friends where they said, my ex is gonna be there at that party. So we talked about it. I'm not gonna show up because they kind of like alternate almost, and it's like, wow, interesting.
Yeah, and I think in a situation like that, like, you don't have to be best friends, right? But you should at least learn how to coexist with each other. And
Yeah.
you never know, time heals a lot of things, not everything, but a lot of things. And as you move forward in your life, and your ex, they move forward with their life, you know over time, I hope you two can be friends again, just for the sake of everyone that are involved
Yeah.
in your lives. And also, yeah, it's just hard for them, right? It's like they love you two individually.
They care about
They
you.
cared about you,
Right.
and um it, and you hope that they didn't care about you was because you two were in a
You were a couple.
relationship. You're
Yeah.
a
And that was
couple.
the only reason.
Yeah, and that's the only reason.
How messed up would that be? It's like I only love you when you're together, but if you're not together, I don't
Bye.
love you anymore. And so what does that say about that love? Was it real to begin with? Was it legitimate and genuine? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So don't make them choose. Just get along. Life will go
Right.
forward, move forward.
Yeah, because I've definitely heard stories where you're so integrated, so deep in a relationship that, let's say you're on the verge of like getting married, or you've
Mhm.
had talks about it, or maybe you did get engaged and it got broken off and it didn't work.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean that the everybody involved doesn't care anymore.
yeah,
It's just it's a challenging situation. And
yeah,
I think a classic example, one that you've talked to me about, was like some celebrities. You can look at their lives and how they've kind of worked things out. I mean, like Will Smith, I think was the example you used, right?
yeah. So he was married, and then he had a child. Right, he's no longer a child, but he's a
Yeah.
grown adult now. But he had a child with his ex-wife. He got a divorce. He remarried, had two more kids, and and his ex-wife remarried, and they integrate the family, like the two families. They take vacations
Hmm.
with each other, and they try to make the lives of their children as
Yeah.
normal as possible.
Because it wasn't just about them, right?
Exactly.
There's kids involved too
Hmm.
that impacts them. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that the kids are involved, they wanted to be as cordial as with each other, and then they just integrated
Yeah.
and to
Exactly.
have like nice, healthy relationships with each other. So they're not always down each other's throat, or and their kids. It's like, it helps, I guess, less with the interruption, right? And then it shows them like, hey, mom and dad can be cordial.
Yeah, because if that doesn't work out, it can create such a weird environment for the kids that it'll mess them up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, not that celebrities are the
Role
best role
models,
models
yeah.
by any means,
No.
but they're people too, and it happens, right? Like with normal everyday people, and we can point to some examples like that. So
Yeah. And I think sometimes, people choose to be friends with their ex as well, is because there's some sense of comfort and familiarity there, right?
like especially if you've known for so long and you've been so much in a routine to all of a sudden not have that anymore.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, in a routine, or some people, they may even work at the same job. They have the same route to work.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
just
yeah.
like, it's just kind of nice to have that, still have that, even though there's nothing romantic there, but
Right.
just to have that. Sometimes I can see how that could be like comforting to
Yeah.
the person as well.
Yeah, I think those are all good reasons, for people to stay friends with their ex, but I feel like sometimes though, just like everything, there could be also ulterior motives from some people, maybe
Absolutely.
not the best intentions, right? Like I feel like I've definitely heard of situations where somebody chose to stay friends with their ex because it was almost kind of like a safety net,
Mm-hmm.
for themselves in case their new relationship doesn't work out, or they're afraid that other relationships might not work out. But hey, I'm still friends with my exes.
Yeah.
I've got, some options here, right? I
Yeah.
could always fall back on,
Yeah.
which at that point, I don't know if that's the best way to think about things.
No. And
To each their own, though, right?
yeah, but oh, that's a sticky one.
It is.
Yeah, or like some people I know, it's kind of like, oh, they, they may, the relationship may be over, but let's say they still have feelings for their ex. Being friends with their ex allows them to be able to,
You're near them,
yeah, be near them and try to respark something. It's like they're within reach
right?
still, right? They're not so distance from your life where it's awkward to reach out to them,
Hmm.
to say even hi, or hey, let's go hang out.
Yeah, and it could be partly insecurity too. You
Hmm.
know, like sometimes I feel like if you're so deeply emotionally involved with somebody, it could be a part of it is like I want to possess that person almost, right? I don't want that person to move on. They can't move on before I move on, kind of
Yeah.
thing too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. It's crazy. It's complex, and that's why we're talking about this because there is no right answer, really.
Yeah. And I think just circling back to
Yeah.
the story,
Yes.
I think, after we've gone through like numerous reasons,
Yeah.
right? Just
Pros and not pros and cons, but like both sides, right, of the
yeah,
coin. Yeah.
I think in this case, I think the guy is probably wanting to sign the lease with his ex is because he's hoping to respark something with her.
Yeah.
Because, clearly, yes, I did talk about how it's expensive to break a lease and stuff, but that did not seem like it was his main concern. His main concern
Mhm.
was the dog, and that, him and his ex, they have a routine.
Right. It could be him holding on to something. For whatever reason, he's holding on. He's choosing to hold on
Yeah.
to that relationship that's technically already over.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I think the other girl, right, his ex, is also agreeing to that,
Yeah.
it tells me that maybe they haven't fully both accepted that this is over or that they want it to be over.
Yeah.
But the victim almost in this situation, or the third party that's kind of the most impacted, would be the new girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's kind of caught in the middle of this.
Mm-hmm. And I think it would be fair for her to, set boundaries with her new boyfriend, to speak her mind. If she's not comfortable with that, she should speak her mind.
Mhm.
And, if he still is in like he doesn't agree with her and still wants to live with the ex-girlfriend,
Yeah.
then I think it's her decision
What to do.
what to do. Like, does she want to stay in a relationship where, you know, her boyfriend can't even compromise and can't even see things on like her side, how uncomfortable it may be for her? I don't know.
Right. Or she could say that's fine, but I don't know if that would be something that she could live with long term because it might pop up
Because it
again.
seems like it's really bothering her.
Absolutely. It bothered her enough to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know? So, and I'm curious what the boyfriend thinks though, like what his perspective is.
Yeah, like what's his true perspective is. Like,
yeah.
Not
Well,
his...
and what are his thoughts about his current girlfriend's feelings? You know, maybe he doesn't even know because she hasn't talked to him about like how much it bothers her, right? So it has to start with a dialogue.
She does bring it up pretty frequently.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And you know, he kept reassuring her.
That's true.
That don't worry, the lease is over. So he
obviously knows she's not cool with it.
Yeah, so it just seems to me that, you know, number one, he's dismissing her feelings, right? Or, you know, number two, he's not that serious about the new relationship, and he's hoping to spark, reignite the relationship he had with his ex.
Yeah. And that wouldn't be fair, you know, to the new person because you're not even emotionally ready to move on, clearly, right?
Yeah.
And yet you're leading this new person on almost.
Yeah.
You're giving them hope that this is going to go somewhere, but his actions are speaking differently. So, okay. Well, I think that's it. That kind of wraps things up for this episode. Make sure to follow our Instagram page and YouTube channel. It's at Magnetic Mismatch. And our podcast is available on all audio platforms. So make sure to give us a 5-star rating and review if you enjoyed the episode.
Absolutely. And we release a new episode every Thursday. And please make sure to subscribe to our different platforms and also to share our content.
Yep. Until next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.